All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Diehard Football Podcast, the podcast for all diehard football fans. I am your host, Chris Mabry, and yes, I know I was supposed to start about 10 minutes ago, but other things happened. I had to feed cats. So, I'm sorry for that. And I'm here now. We're going to talk about the Sam Darnold trade. Was it a good idea or was it a bad idea for the Carolina Panthers to get Darnold in a trade? We're going to break down the trade, uh, deal between the two teams, the Jets and the Panthers, and figure out, was it the best move overall for Carolina, or was it the better option for the Jets? We're going to take a look at that. We're also going to take a look at jersey numbers. There's a new rule proposal that will allow skilled position players, to change their number to, I believe, single digits or in the lower digits, like where running backs are in the 20s, in the teens and the 20s. We're going to take a look at that. And then another rule change we're going to look at is a proposed overtime rule that may impact how things work as far as the 2021 season and beyond. So we're going to take a look at that Sam Darnold trade that has happened between the Carolina Panthers and the Carolina Panthers and the New York Jets. So on Monday, we had the surprise, well, I guess it wasn't a surprise trade, of quarterback Sam Darnold. He is now with the Carolina Panthers. Prior to that, he played with the USC Trojans for 2 seasons. Then in the 2018 National Football League draft, the New York Jets obviously selected him with the 3rd overall pick. 2019, he suffered that mono disease or disorder, whatever. He was diagnosed with that, and he was out of the team or the lineup for 3 weeks. Obviously enough, or not surprisingly, he came back to beat, yes, and I do mean beat, the Dallas Cowboys. And that was a horrible game. But that's besides the point. He returned in that game after missing 3 weeks of the season dealing with that. Then he played for about 30, or not, he played for about 38 games in his 3 seasons in the National Football League so far. Last season in 2020, Darnold played in 12 games, went for 217 completions out of 364, threw about 2,208 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Now, that's not a lot of completions, or not a lot of completion percentage, not a lot of touchdowns either, but a heck of a lot of interceptions. I don't know about you, but that is one too many. If I was a quarterback in the NFL, I would totally try to get that number down as much as possible. Why? Because that is a good way of getting benched in the NFL. And the number one thing you probably don't want to do is to get benched. If you get benched, then your season might be over. Not only that, your career might be over. And that is a no-no. But as far as if it was a good idea for the Jets or the Panthers, I think it was a bad move on both teams. Because let's look at Carolina first. Carolina had Teddy Bridgewater. Bridgewater was an okay quarterback. I wouldn't say he was the best, but he was okay. Then you have on the Jets Sam Darnold. Now, as far as I know, I'm not sure. I am looking it up right now. Who is the backup quarterback for the Jets at the moment? I know they got rid of Flacco, I want to say. So you got Mike White and James Morgan. One of those quarterbacks I know, and he was a backup. That quarterback was Mike White. Didn't see a lot of Mike White when he was with the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not sure about James Morgan. Let's see. I think he's probably a rookie. But not JP Morgan. That is weird. But as far as I know, Mike White is your quarterback. Interesting. So after looking at that, I feel like Mike White, or the New York Jets, did poorly on getting rid of their star quarterback. Carolina, they have Bridgewater, and now they have Sam Darnold. Now, out of those two quarterbacks, I believe that the Carolina Panthers did okay. You have two quarterbacks who know the NFL well. Apparently, Matt Rule, the head coach, that was the head coach at Baylor, is now the head coach in Carolina. He felt good about Darnold during the draft. He liked Darnold during draft week back in 2018 and felt like if he was going to be in the NFL, he would like to coach Darnold at some point in his career. Now he has the chance. Not only that, the Panthers are planning on giving Darnold the fifth-year option because he was in the first selected in the first round of the 2018 draft, and who knows what's going to happen down the road in a couple years, in about a year or two, because of that fifth-year option. He has at least 2 years to prove himself with the Carolina Panthers. So we broke down the deal. We established that the Carolina Panthers came out of the deal as the favorites over the New York Jets, who have shown they don't have a good quarterback at the moment and will have to go after someone in this year's draft. It is slim pickings at the quarterback position. As we know, Trevor Lawrence is not going to go to the New York Jets. The Jacksonville Jaguars want to keep that position to themselves. And who knows who they're going to pick. They have the 6th overall. Let's go over the details. I'm not sure if we established that they win the trade happened. Let's look at it real quick. So the trade between the New York Jets and the Carolina Panthers. The New York Jets received the 6th pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, the 6th round pick in this year's draft. That is going to be pick 226. That's going to go to the New York Jets. Then, in next year's draft, 2022, the New York Jets will receive the 2nd round pick and a 4th round pick. Both are in next year's draft. So, I don't know about you, but it's going to be an interesting situation going on in Charlotte, North Carolina. I believe it's in Charlotte. And the Big Apple, New York City. Because of that movement. All right, let's start with the overtime rules in our, outlook on 2021 and beyond. So, from what I'm understanding about this new overtime proposal, is that one team, it's going to start on the 20-yard line. One team's going to say they either want the ball or they want the other team to have the ball. Once they establish that, I gotta look at this. I can't remember what the exact parameters are. So here's what's going to happen. I think I found it. An article on Sports Nation's Patriot page. To modify overtime, and then we're going to talk about the jersey proposal. So great. This is what I'm looking for. All right. Let's see. I'm trying to find it. All right. I think I found it. By competition committee, they want to amend Rule 16 to eliminate overtime in the preseason. Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. Even though overtime has been reduced from 4 games to 3 games in the regular season, going to a 17-game format, it would not be a surprise to see this proposal get voted on. I agree. Let's see. What else can we find about overtime? This is by Baltimore and the Philadelphia Eagles. They want to amend Rule 16, Section 1 to change the option for winner of an overtime coin toss and create a true sudden death format. This is what I'm looking for. All right. The Ravens and the Eagles' joint proposal was already detailed earlier this offseason. The team that wins the coin toss in overtime will pick a spot on the field. So like the 10-yard line, the 15, so on and so forth. it'll be, they get to pick where the ball will be placed to start the overtime period. While the other team gets to choose whether they get to play offense or defense, or vice versa. A true sudden death, meaning the first team to score wins the game, is also proposed as part of this. Here's another incident by the Baltimore Ravens to amend Rule 16, Section 1 in the rule book to change the options for winner of an overtime coin toss, eliminate sudden death format, and eliminate overtime in the preseason. We already established that. Philadelphia wants to amend Rule 6, Section 1, not about overtime. All right, now let's move on to the jerseys. Because I've been hearing about this the last, 2 or 3 days. To be honest with you, I'm confused by it. All right, it is proposed by the Kansas City Chiefs, probably not by Patrick Mahomes, but it is the Chiefs' rule proposal to amend Rule 5, Section 1, Article 2, to expand jersey numbers for certain positions. One of the more interesting proposals, Kansas City is looking to modify jersey numbers as follows. So defensive backs in this proposal, all of these are in this proposal, are going to wear 1 to 49. Running backs, fullbacks, tight ends, halfbacks, wide receivers will get 1 to 49 and 83-89. Offensive linemen will get 50 to 79. Linebackers 1 to 59 and 90 to 99. Excuse me. The other positions like quarterback, punters, place kickers, offensive linemen will not see a change in which numbers they would be allowed to wear. I'm okay with the overtime rules, the overtime rule proposal. I think that definitely needs to change because, as we saw, I believe a couple seasons ago, when the Patriots and Chiefs battled it out, the Patriots didn't allow Kansas City to get the ball. And Tom Brady and the Patriots stomped Kansas City. Howdy to you. Welcome to the show. So Kansas City never had the ball, and thus they didn't get to the Super Bowl. Patriots did. And people were upset, and they had a right to be. But I do like, I'm not sure about the spot overtime, because the team that wins it can go, we won it on the, I'm not sure if this is true, but we won it on the 5-yard line. Now you got a chance to score. Because in the proposal, the first team to score wins the game. Then you get to also pick the spot you want. Teams can go 1-yard line, 5-yard line, and they can easily get in. That has a problem, at least to me. And if they do propose this I mean, they are proposing it. But if it goes through, then I think they would have to say you can pick from the 20-yard line to the 30-yard line on either end. You know, but on your side of the ball, you can't pick the 5-yard line, the 1-yard line, just for an easy victory, because you can run it in or pass it. I mean, well, passing it in a short yard situation may not be the best situation. Um, but I mean, there's stuff to work out. I think it's a rule that would pass. Do you guys think it will be passed? I'm curious about that. As for their jersey numbers, um, I'm not fond of just changing the jersey numbers. Um, for positions. It's always been like this as far as I can remember, and the jersey numbers have a meaning because of each position. And I'm trying to look that up real quick. That what they're looking like right now. Here we go. I think I just found it. Just give me a minute. All right. So for your quarterbacks, you have 1 to 9, or you can say 1 to 19. 1 to 9 and 10 to 19. That's what you got for your quarterbacks. You also have it for the kickers and punters as well. Running back, wide receivers, you can go 10 to 19 and 80 to 89. That's wide receivers. Running backs, you can go 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and 40 to 49. Sorry. Tight ends, only a certain few can have it. 40 to 49. That's kind of interesting. Oh, 40 to 49. And 80 to 89. Let's see here. That was tight ends. So you got offensive linemen. 50 through 79 is your offensive lineman. Defensive lineman, you got 59 to 70, or 50 to 79, and 90 to 99. That's for your defensive linemen. Your linebackers are going to be 40 through, let me see. Yeah, 40 through 59. The chart they have is confusing, so I'm sorry for the long pause here. And finally, your defensive backs are going to be 20 through 49. So 20 through 49 is going to be your defensive backs. So as you can see, the NFL jerseys that each position is representing has a meaning, to what you see on the field. And I think with this rule proposal, it's going to disrupt, as you would say, the flow of how things go. I mean, I'm all for change, but I think a lot of people would not approve of this. What do you guys think? You can leave me a comment on my Twitter at Chris_Mabry93. thank you guys for watching today's episode. I would like to thank All Sports All Plays, as well as Talking All Sports All Plays, for allowing me to add this podcast to their network. Let's grow this as well as all of their shows on the All Sports All Plays network. I will see you guys next week for another edition of the Diehard Football Podcast. And you can also listen to this podcast and any other podcast episodes available on your favorite podcasting service like Apple Podcast, Stitcher, or not Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. So with that, I'm Chris Mabry. Thank you for joining me for another episode, and have a great day.